it's actually not as complicated as you think. So, so it's not the government's job to necessarily track down the assets. The way it works in practical terms is a person gets added to the sanctions list. Once they're on the sanctions list, then it's the job or the responsibility, not the job, but the legal responsibility of a bank that holds their money to no longer transact with that person. So that money gets frozen, or a real estate agent not to sell their property, or a broker not to sell their shares. And at that point, everything gets frozen. And so it effectively gets crowdsourced. Now, you made a good point, which is, let's say their stuff is not in the United States or in the UK, but in the Cayman Islands. Well, guess what? The Cayman Islands is a crown dependency. And as a result, every one of these Guernsey, Jersey, Isle of Man, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, they copy the British sanctions list. And so you end up in a situation where whatever Britain does, all these offshore jurisdictions do. And so Britain is really punching way above its weight in terms of its importance in this whole scheme. And so just coming back to the original thought, you put a person on the sanctions list, they get sanctioned everywhere, Cayman Islands, BVI, UK. And if all the countries coordinate, then there's really no civilized place they can hide. Now, we're seeing oligarchs scrambling right now, moving yachts. I read a story about one oligarch who's parked his yacht in Saudi Arabia, okay, because he doesn't think that the Saudi Arabians will freeze his yacht. And there's stories about mad scrambles of oligarchs trying to sell properties, give them away to family members, and getting divorced from their wives and giving them property, all sorts of interesting stuff. And that will happen, and they will probably succeed in protecting some of their assets. But even if you don't get all their assets, just having a person on the sanctions list means that they're no longer, that they're pretty much out of the game. They're benched.